Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Ryan. Today's YouTube video has got me here in World of Warships sailing around in the little Australian devil machine, the HMAS Perth. Yes, that's right, back again in what is probably, in my opinion, the best cruiser at Tier 6. As the battle gets underway, it's the New Dawn map. It's a standard battle mode. And take a look at the team's lineup there at the top of the video. You will notice that there's only one destroyer per team. That's a Tier 6 destroyer. And there are 2 aircraft carriers per team. And this is going to be a little bit of a problem for the Perth because she does not have that great of anti-aircraft. Fortunately for me, the aircraft carriers are not both Tier 6. One is a Tier 5 and one is a Tier 6. Unfortunately, the Tier 6 one is the Ryojo. So that's gotta be something I do need to watch out for. Now, I have opted, as the battle gets underway, to head down towards where the sea cap point would be because that's kind of where I spawn closest. And because it's a standard battle mode and due to the lack of destroyers in the game, there's a strong probability that whatever I run into down here, I'm going to be able to spot pretty easily and determine if I need to turn and run. Now I start slowing down here and I'm about ready to pop my smoke screen. Because I haven't been detected yet, I can take the time to slow down before popping that smoke screen. And the first victim up on the chopping block is an Omaha that is pushing up here, and it looks like he's making a beeline for the island there. He obviously needs to get himself back behind cover because he is taking fire from at least 3 different enemy ships. Myself and my 2 allies back over there, but the carrier's coming in with torpedo planes, and I'm already starting to shoot down aircraft as they pass over. I do have dual catapult fighters, which means that I can somewhat defend myself. Switch over to the armor piercing. The armor piercing on the Perth is actually surprisingly good. It's not like the semi-armor piercing of the Leander, so it does have a little bit better penetration value. And of course, I do have the high explosive as well. Trying to get a Citadel on this enemy cruiser, and I do manage to do a double Citadel on him just before he disappears behind the island. And then I've got an Emerald pushing up there, and it's an Emerald, very lightly armored, and he's turning broadside onto me on top of that. Already managed to double Citadel him to begin with, and managed to smack him for my first kill of the game. Yes, 4 Citadels there to finish him off. That's how bad the armor on the Emerald is. If you're fighting at an Emerald and you turn broadside to anything, you're gonna get smacked. And managed to Citadel and smack the cruiser that I Citadeled earlier, finishing him off for my second kill. At this point, the battle is still fairly young, but I've already managed to do almost 40,000 damage in this game. And now I have a broadside Leander. And that Leander is gonna have to stay broadside because he's got torpedoes to dodge. So that's going to give me a continued advantage when shooting at him with the armor piercing. Unfortunately, armor piercing shots falling a little bit high and a little bit behind. Smokescreen finally runs out, so I pick up the speed there before it disappears and get myself moving along. Now, I made a little bit of a mistake here as I fired off that armor piercing shot. I wasn't detected, you'll notice that, when I fired off those shots. And now that I've fired them, obviously the detection bloom has gone all the way out to my max gun range, and I am detected. And that Leander, because I am so far out there, and because I'm technically a light cruiser, is going to decide to shoot at me. Now, I do need to be cautious here because there's still the Omaha behind that island, but a French baguette has popped around from this island here, pretty close range. I switch back over to the armor piercing to continue to shoot at him because of his broadside, and I do manage to smack him for several Citadels as I start taking shots in from that Leander. So I'm going to start getting myself turned around. Yeah, I'm going to risk taking those armor piercing shots from the Leander just to get turned around and angled against him, partly because of the rate of fire associated with that ship. I definitely don't need to be dealing with that. The Omaha finally pops out from behind the island. He's found his bravery pills, and so he's going to start pushing up. But I've still got the armor piercing loaded, and he's still broadside, so smack him for a citadel there. More shots out there, and manage to smack him again for another citadel, and finally finish him off with yet another citadel for my third kill of the game. Do accidentally run into a friendly cruiser back behind me, but that's alright. Wasn't too much damage done, fortunately. I don't think I blocked his shots all that much, considering the only thing that either of us could shoot at was the Omaha, and I wasn't going to let my kill get taken by some Russian guy. The French cruiser, that baguette up there, not having a good time of it. Unfortunately, I don't manage to get the shots out there quick enough to finish him off. It's a little disappointing because it would have been nice to have 4 kills and be hunting for a Kraken. And of course, you'll see all of the kills that I managed to fail to secure, resulting in my lack of a Kraken. Now, the battle situation is definitely in my team's favor, as my team has only lost 4 ships to the enemy's 6. And the enemy is still relatively concentrated back by their base, but more importantly, if you look at the mini-map there, you can see the last known positions of several of those ships. They are, for the most part, very much so spread out. And that means that their carriers are going to have less protection, but it also means that if we coordinate a push towards their base, they're going to have a harder time of it. Slow wave down yet again, get my smokescreen popped, mostly because I continue to take shots in from both the Leander as well as that other baguette over there. And the friendly cruiser here is pushing up with me, and he's actually stopping. And I'm going to have to type into chat that my smokescreen moves with me. Although, I think he's going to realize it here shortly that the smokescreen is continuing to move as he does start backing up, which I think is a pretty standard smoke maneuver when you are in a smokescreen, to pop the smoke, back up, reverse again, stay mobile so you can avoid potential torpedoes. Unfortunately for me, popping the smokescreen has resulted in both of the enemy cruisers that are down there at range effectively running out of my range. So I have nothing to shoot at. But that also means that they really can't shoot at me, and because I'm behind an island and using those islands for cover to move up, it also leaves me in a reasonably good position to move forward. Yes, my smokescreen's still active, but, you know, for the ship that's directly behind me, that's actually a good thing because I'm laying down a smokescreen effectively at a rate that he can stay in it. Of course, enemy carriers have come up and they're swarming our friendly ship up there, but it is a bunch of cruisers, so enemy aircraft carriers are kind of having a bad time of it because Cruiser AA is pretty damn effective, even if it is just Tier 5 and Tier 6 anti-aircraft. Can cause some serious problems. And of course, again, you'll notice that there were no battleships in this game. It was seriously a very cruiser game. Not a lot to shoot at except other cruisers. Now, you might be wondering why I'm continuing to fire the high explosive over that island as opposed to armor piercing, and that was mostly due to the heavy maneuvering that the Leander up there was doing. And I wanted to ensure that if he did turn in, I wasn't going to bounce my shots off of his bow plating or his stern, and instead could penetrate him with the inertia fuse high explosive that I have. Managed to set that Cleveland on fire, and that's going to burn for a little bit. So you're going to see the damage counter continue to tick up there, partly because he was already on fire. And then he did put that fire out, and I set another fire on him. I popped my hydroacoustic here because I don't know what's up and around by this island, and that enemy destroyer is still somewhere around there. Earned the Confederate medal as a result of the fire burning on the Cleveland, and there is the enemy Fubuki who has popped up. I get shots out there, but my shots are going to be a little bit too late to get in and secure the kill on that Fubuki. Do manage to set the Bogue on fire as well as Citadel him with my inertia fuse high explosive. And I'm pushing up here, and I'm kind of in a bad situation in that I would really like to get all of my guns to bear on this guy, but I can't do that. There's an island in the way. It forces me to turn. I could beach myself on the island and keep my guns pointed there, except there's a smokescreen up there, and that smokescreen was not laid by the Fubuki. That is the enemy Leander, and I don't want to be broadside to him while shooting at a carrier. That carrier, however, not having a good time, but he's on fire in multiple places. I'm trying to get shots out, trying to finish him off. Unfortunately, the cruiser in front of me finishes him off, takes him out of the game, again, failing to secure another kill. really, really disappointed by that. Enemy Ryojo has popped up, the last remaining carrier in the game, and pay attention to his aircraft because they're going to come into factor here soon. Enemy Leander is forced out of his smokescreen. Of course, I was going to push up there anyway, and he's effectively bow onto me, but he's turning broadside on, and I'm turning broadside as well to avoid the potential torpedoes. Friendly ship does manage to take him down to such a low level that my secondary gunners are able to finish him off, and yes, I secured a close quarters expert in the Perth. Now I'm slowing way down here because my smokescreen is almost available again, also because I want to keep my guns on target on that enemy carrier, and that's when the carrier does a torpedo drop. And this is where I made a major mistake. I get my throttle up and running because I was going to try and turn hard. Ship did not want to turn, and unfortunately I get hit by 2 of them. Instead, what I should have done is just slammed on my brakes, stopped, and stayed there. Only been hit by 1, would have survived the engagement, and probably would have had my smokescreen pop up there at the very last second to save me from any potential continuing problems. Still though, I managed to do 100,000 plus damage in this game. 4 kills, and look at all of those citadels. That's a lot of citadels. Friendly CV takes out the enemy CV, takes out the baguette that's back over there, and that just leaves a Cleveland to deal with what's left. Of course, we have both of our carriers, and they really don't want to approach the Cleveland because of the Cleveland's anti-aircraft. And the Cleveland is putting up a pretty good fight, nailing the cruiser that we have here in the enemy cap zone. But that cruiser is returning fire, and we do have our destroyer who's also in that cap, and so long as he stops firing and stays completely hidden, honestly, he could just cap out the entire base. But our cruiser is having none of it. The combination of our destroyer and our cruiser effectively shooting this Cleveland means that they both want to kill him, and that Cleveland is losing a lot of health really quickly. Of course, sailing broadside on is not helping him any in this situation. But the Cleveland is putting out a withering amount of fire. You can see that high explosive, and you can see the rate of high explosive that's coming out there. Question is, who's going to get the kill? It looks like a torpedo might actually connect with this guy, and it does. That's actually surprising how long range those torpedoes are. Can he get it? Yes, our baguette secures the kill on the Cleveland for the win. 109,000 damage done in that battle. 551,000 credits earned in a Tier 6 maximum battle. 4 kills, so no Kraken, especially when you saw the 3 kills that I failed to secure. At least 2 of them I did a lot of work on. Still though, Confederate, close quarter, high caliber, and 16 citadels. Oh, that's just beautiful. Top of the team for XP earned, not quite 2,000 base XP, but pushed up there quite nicely. Anyway, that's it for today's YouTube video, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get some irregular channel news and updates, as well as my live streaming schedule, you can do so by following me and liking me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me and the channel, I encourage you to do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. Any support level will grant you access to some of my World of Warships replays, like this one, earlier than YouTube audiences. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email. And if you'd like to watch me play World of Warships, among other games, live, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the live streaming schedule on my YouTube page, on my Facebook page. And you can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye saying Happy 4th of July. Signing off.